Success as it was. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday Night Live Show. Yep, you're seeing it right. It's just me and old Shelly here. Yeah, you're going to hold down the pack. John actually, John got called into work. He got a call last minute. So John's a bitter old man right now. He's a bitter old 56-year-old man because according to him, the kids always call in sick right after payday. I don't know if that means anything to you guys, but I wonder what those kids are doing with that money after payday. They're out there blowing their wads. So I don't know. John got called into work, so Phillip couldn't make it this evening. So our well wishes to Phillip. We hope he's doing well. Allison is having some remodeling done, so she could not stream from another location. And we all know what happened to John. So you get these two beautiful faces. And then here's the other bad news. So we have well, good news and bad news. The good news is we're back, right? We didn't have a show last week, but we hate to leave you guys hanging because we love all you guys desperately. We love that you're here every week. You've become family. You are friends. You are community. You are everything that this show is about. We're not pros. We're not, we're not bank rolling or anything. We do this thing out of the, where's the chat? There it is. Okay. Finally, I was like sitting there looking at the banner layout, and I'm like, I'm tired of. I want to see what people are saying. So we wanted to at least have a show tonight, especially with the limited staff. Yes, we're the two employees. We're the overnight workers. We're keeping the QT open tonight. We wanted to have a show. Exactly. We wanted to have a show because we missed you guys last week.
Yes.
And so we're here for today, but we're only doing a 1 hour show, and the only reason why is because I'm screwing it up. You can blame it all on Tim. Just blame it on me because I have a concert to go to tonight, and I was about to pedal my wife off in an Uber to go off to the show so she could get there early, and then I was going to do this show, and then I was going to jump in the car and go meet her there. So, but tonight I am going to a concert. So as they say in the world of teams meetings in businesses, I have a hard stop at 8 p.m. So we're going to cut it a little short tonight, but Shelly and I aren't going to get into too much deep seated stuff. We're not going to talk about anything that's happened here recently, but we are going to go into the coffer of articles and talk about that. News is still happening. Things are going on. But before we get to that, Shelly, how has your last 2 weeks been?
It's been kind of busy. I've had a lot of, as you can relate to, stuff happening around the condos that I've had to deal with.
Oh, really? You too?
So, yeah. Lots of, drunk kids and people wandering in and leaving people here and just lots and lots of things, So, been kind of busy with that. And not a whole lot other than that. The pool is closed. It's always open year round, but
right.
It's not swimmable so much anymore. So
Sure.
that's about it, really.
Well, that sounds simple and easy. I don't know. We live a similar lifestyle. I don't have too many problems with drunk kids
No?
lately. We are, the pool is closed. It's been closed, so that's been kind of a nice feature of the neighborhood here. But we are embarking on our annual board meeting. So this is where the community gets to come, and it's like a town hall kind of situation. And we talk about boring stuff, about things we've done this year, things we still want to do, budgets, things of
That's
that
what
nature.
we're going through too.
Yep. So that's on December 3rd. So I have to that's a Tuesday, not on show night. Don't worry, guys. I'll be here on December 3rd for the show. But yeah, so I am now the de facto president of the HOA. Our
Oh,
president left I don't know. He left, well, he's been checked out for about 2 years now. But I got brought in, I was brought into the fold about 3 years ago. And so no, he moved out of the community. He left, and then
yeah.
nobody knew. Like nobody knew until there was a for sale sign in front of his
Oh my
house.
goodness.
Yeah, so we finally chased him down and got him to put in his letter of resignation. We have not had an official uh, vote of any kind to redetermine or reorganize the structure, but everybody's looking at me. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll be the interim or whatever for right now until we figure all that out. Anyway, but my last 2 weeks, well, it's actually been quite uh action packed and fun filled. But
Always, always.
I'll give you the cliff notes. We'll just talk about last weekend. So last weekend I went to a birthday party for a friend. One of the guys who plays in the band I work with, Departure. He's turning the ripe old age of 40, so
Oh,
he's still a young book by
hmm.
most standards. Well, you know what, Steve? I'll be honest with you. I did get a hat when I became president, and it's one of the you've seen these hats before. I got it. The authority. Yeah, no, Steve, I got a dunce cap. That's what they gave me. They're like, you're so dumb that you're going to go ahead and subject yourself to this kind of punishment. That's
Yeah.
exactly the hat that I got, Steve. Um, but so we went up and so he decided he and his wife decided that they were going to have kind of a weekend getaway, right? So they rented this massive cabin in a town called Chickamauga, Georgia, which is in the middle of BFG or BFE. It's in the middle of BFE, way at the back end of this massive property. Gorgeous cabin. This thing looks like something you'd see on those TV shows on like ETV, $1 million cabins and stuff. This thing is massive.
Nice.
It slept 38.
Oh my goodness.
But that doesn't mean there were 38 bedrooms. What that means
Right.
is some bedrooms had like bunk beds and two beds.
Mhm.
There was this cool kind of like lofted tower that was a bedroom. It was really cool.
Oh,
And then that also meant, if you can find a couch or anything else, it slept 38. But you go up there, it was just gorgeous skyline up in the mountains with the fall colors. It truly was a place where if you wanted a weekend away in the middle of nowhere and away from everything, all city sounds, the hubbub, the hustle and bustle of life, this is exactly where you'd want to go. And so it was great. We had I'd
good.
say there was close to about 30 people up there, friends, band members, just acquaintances, everybody that was up there. And so we did the adult thing, we drank stuff and we ate stuff and talked about stuff, and so
Sure.
we had a great time. Only problem was it was a 2.5 hour drive from here. We did not have dog coverage for like an overnight stay. We should have organized better and probably stayed the night. So we drove up there 2.5 hours and got there about 3, and then we had to leave around 10 o'clock because it was still
Oh,
2.5 hours home. So
right.
this kid was tired. So that was that weekend, and then the very next night we went to a concert on Sunday night. And we saw a band. Curtis Clemens might know who this band is. I don't know. Some of you might know this band. Steve Todnam might know who this band is. That we went and saw a band called Zebra. I don't know if anybody
You
remembers.
saw Zebra?
Hmm.
They're from yeah. I mean, they
Yeah,
are like my best friend in high school. Her brother was in Zebra, Alex.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we partied with Alex all the time. We saw
yeah,
them every weekend. I
yeah.
mean, Yeah, cool,
Well,
cool
they're a
people.
band from the 70s, actually. I don't think
Yeah,
they really kind of
yeah,
gained any momentum until probably the mid to late 80s.
yeah,
But
yeah,
they're down from your neck of the woods, down there. So we did go. They're older guys now. You
yeah,
can
yeah,
Randy Jackson. He's put on the miles. It's
yeah,
nothing but gray hair anymore. But they still sound fantastic.
yeah.
They're still rocking and rolling. They're actually getting ready to put out a new album. So if anybody, I like to call them like Rush Junior. That's my sort
Hmm.
of nickname for them. So if you're into Rush and you like that sort of style of music, it's not as progressive. It's a little progressive, but if you like that style of stuff, go check out
Hey,
Zebra. The first three albums are fantastic. The self-titled, No Telling Lies, and 3.5. Go check out those three albums. You might become a Zebra fan. Who knows? But anyway, so that
they
was
will.
my weekend. That was my weekend. So more adventures in store tonight. Two more concerts this week. But hey, look, we got some people in the chat. We got
Oh,
some wonderful, beautiful faces in the chat. I'm not gonna bother to go looking for John's tracks, and I don't have the little hot pad thing that he's got with all the clapping and the Snoop Dogg and all that. I don't have any of that. So I'm just gonna cut right to the chase and go say hi to some beautiful people here. Let me scroll to the very, 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 very top. Oh, look, my homeboy right here at the top. Right wait, hold on. I have to make a comment though. Before I get started. This Birdman had the best comment of the night so far. I talked about the 2.5 hour drive, and he said 2.5 hour drive, and you still haven't left Sydney. That's true. That's so true. I've been there. I know exactly what he's saying, and you're right. But you can take the little tram around the city if you're into that sort of stuff. At any rate, my homeboy at the top of the list, we got Land of the Lost World of JJ. What's
hi,
up,
JJ.
JJ? How are you? Good to see you. Welcome back to the show. We got Mr. Rolling R Rifleman in the house. He's got a new surname, new nickname. I don't not got you in my sights. Maybe I was a little too hokey with that one. That sounded a little too canned. He's now officially Rifle Lurkomatic Man.
Oh,
Lurkomatic. He's Lurkomatic. He's in the shadows,
he's
hanging out
always
in the
there.
shadows.
He's
We got
always
the
there.
absolutely. We got the wonderful Mallory. Do it your damn self, Gates in the house. Wonderful to see you, Mallory. How are you, dear? Always happy to have you here on the show. Missed you guys, and we got our biggest fan right here. He's next in line. We got Curtis Clemens, Call of Duty. Actually, your new nickname is Curtis Call of Duty Clemens.
Yeah,
He was in a tournament not too long ago. I'm sure he was cussing a little bit because those little young punks, they got the wall hacks and the aim bots and all that stuff. Those little damn cheaters. I used to play Counter-Strike all the time, and Team Fortress, the old Team Fortress, not the new Team Fortress. Like if you're old school gamer, you played the real official first go round Team Fortress Classic. I always wanted to be a sniper, but those damn kids would always find wall hacks and aim bots and all that stuff. So
damn kids.
so while you're doing your darndest to play a game honestly, you actually spend more time cussing out little kids. But that's how that goes. So welcome to the world of gaming. And we got Microwave. Left you on 1 second. Oven in the house. Microwave, how are you, sir? Always good to see you. Welcome back to the show. Who else we got in here? We don't want to talk to Zamplebox. We know who they. We got Steve, Emoji King, Tottenham in the house. Great to see you, Steve.
Hi,
Always great
Steve.
to see you here on the show. We got Birdman. Caw, caw. We got Birdman in the house. Good to see you, Birdman. Who else we got in here? We got James, the resident pirate,
Arr.
in the house. Good to see you, James.
Hi,
How are you,
James.
sir? Good to see you. And I think that's it. Is that it? I think I got everybody. Hold on. I was still scrolling. People are talking. The screen is scrolling, and I'm slow, and I'm 56, and I've probably got carpal tunnel from using a mouse for half my life. All right. Anyway, so here we are on the other side of hellos and updates and things like that. So I thought what I'd do is we just make it random. I mean, we like to do this on every show. If there's anything in particular you guys want to talk about, don't be shy. Put something in the chat. I thought maybe I'd start before we get into the articles, because this article is a little relevant, right? This is about the FDA, and some stuff. They're not happy. The FDA is not happy. But with that said, I think this might be, I don't know, this made me think of a couple different subjects, but I'm going to talk about that article where they're throwing out warnings to law firms about devices that look similar to like gaming devices and handheld things. And I know that we have discussions all the time about how ludicrous and how crazy can disposables get. Now, I know some of you are just like true blue, purists, right? You won't touch the disposables and stuff like that. I, however, am in a lazy period of my life. So I have embraced the disposable just for the sake of argument that, I just needed a break from changing coils, re-wicking,
Right.
and the whole nine. So,
Right.
I started out with just your basic disposable, right? I wouldn't say nondescript, but, just a basic thing, right? It was just had a name on it, and, it had a drip tip on it. Didn't even have airflow control on it or anything like that. You just kind of unpackaged it and you pulled and you went to town. Then I started looking, and trust me, I'm basically just looking for good deals. Anyway, so by the last ones I tried, Bluetooth to your phone. So there was an app that you could download to your phone, and then you could create a Bluetooth connection. And then if you allowed all these other permissions, but I didn't, because I don't want all my personal information going to some database or some server on the other side of the world. So I tried a couple of the features out, but you could Bluetooth to your phone, so you could change the wallpaper, and you could check the weather and all this other kind of silly stuff. And I thought that was maybe like a little bit over the top, but this one takes the cake. So really where it started I started with like 20,000 puff devices, and then I was like, oh, they got 25,000 ones.
Right.
Obviously variable. So I got the 25s, then I got 30s. Then I was online. I'm like, oh, they have 40s now. So I'm like, they're like, I give me more for my money, but I want a deal. Well, anyway, I settled on these. Okay, it's iJoy. It's made by iJoy.
Those are good.
Exactly. And I'm not complaining about the flavor. I'm not complaining about performance, but it has gotten a little stupid because I didn't realize what I was buying when I bought it. This has AI technology, everyone. AI technology. So you can set it to AI mode, and then it regulates the ice to nicotine blending content based on your kind of trends and habits.
Right.
But it goes one step further. The only way you can adjust it, there's no buttons.
Right.
All right. There's an airflow button on the bottom. You can make the airflow more restricted for, MTL or whatever. You have to talk to it. So when you talk to it, you can tell it to go into AI mode, or you can have it adjust the NIC. You can go 30, 40, 50.
Oh.
And you can change the ice level from 1 to 4.
I think that's great, though. You don't
Hey,
like
Neil.
that?
Yeah, no, yeah. So get that. So yeah, you're really gonna look like a goofball when you're out in public, and people are like, "Why are you talking to your just?" Hey, iJoy, Nick 30. Look, it just changed.
That's cool though, because I
Hey,
mean,
iJoy, Nick 40.
a lot of people will have different strengths for the different days that they're having, or different events that they're doing. So
Exactly.
that's great.
I mean, I love the variable element of it. I
Yeah.
like the fact that, like none of us really ever really enjoyed like the menu systems, yeah,
Right.
3 clicks and then you have to freaking, click over here, this, your fire button to get there, or your wattage up button to go there, whatever. I mean, that's just how those digiboards were. But yeah, now you talk to your disposables people. So I think it is getting a little ludicrous. So we'll go into the article, and then I'll ask a question after that. Let's say hi to Neil Pitts. Neil Pitts, welcome to the show. Neil, I got to come up with a nickname for you. I don't have one yet. But if you keep coming back to the show, and when I get to know you a little bit better, you're gosh darn right you're going to get a nickname just like everybody else. So like everybody gets a moniker here. If you guys want to go buy jerseys for yourselves and get the moniker put on the back of the jersey, just because like no one will get it, they'll be like, "What's that? What's do it your damn self for on the back of your jersey?" And then you got to explain the whole thing, and then they'll go, "Oh, okay, I get it. It's an inside joke. You're a vapor. You know that's bad for you." No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Yeah, we get that all the time.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, I didn't want to talk about my jersey to that yucca puck over there. He's over here chastising me. It was a good story when it started. Anyway, all right. So let's share the screen. All right, we're going deep into the article coffer. Does it have separate coils for flavor, Nick and ice? You know what I'm thinking, Steve? There's something to that. Like
Gotta have
how
something.
there's no way it's got to have different chambers or something in
Hmm.
it that somehow get to the coil system. I'll read a little bit more on exactly what that. I didn't realize that it was this diverse. I just kind of I saw that it was adjustable, but I didn't. It was like $13.99
Oh,
each.
that's not bad.
No, so I was like, I'll get a bunch of these because they're cheap and they're 40,000 plus. And then when I opened it, not to get off the article subject, but when I opened it, there was like a film, the film that you peel off. Neil, it will go up to 5% or 50, but you can go down as low as 3%. So you
Oh,
can do
that's cool.
3, 4, or 5. So here's a good point, right? It's not a product review or any way, shape, or form. Not sharing links or anything like that. But I've been asked several times by people, "Hey, I'm like I have a friend right now. He's like he had actually quit everything. He was a smoker. He got into to vaping. I helped him find devices like some AIOs and stuff to help wean him down and then get because he wanted to quit vaping altogether too. So he finally quit vaping, and then he had some stuff come up in his life, and then he kind of ended up back on the train, back on the wagon a little bit, or fell off the wagon. That's how you do it. When you fall off the wagon, you're back to doing the things that you don't really want to be doing.
Right.
Anyway,
Right.
so he's like, "Hey man, I'm buying disposables now. I kind of back fell off the wagon a little bit." And he's like, "But like I don't want 50 all the time. Like where can I get like stuff that steps you down?" And I'm like, "Well, let me look into it." And so I spent a couple hours looking around for like stuff that was like 36, 24, anything. Cause like
Hmm.
from a disposable perspective, the market's a little limited. And I couldn't find anything. And then I got these not really understanding what I was buying because I was just looking at the headline. And I'm like, I'll recommend this to him. So I'm gonna see him tonight at the show. I'm gonna go, if you want some disposables, I got a link for you. Go buy these. You can look dumb like me and talk to your disposable, but you can wean yourself down. Like you can start with 50 and then you can go to 40, you can go to 30. And then I do like the ice blending. So like if you're not that much of a can't wait, hold on, let's see. Hold on. Let's do a test, folks. Hold on. Hey, iJoy, ice 0. Would you look at that? If you don't want ice in it at
Yeah.
all, you can tweak it down to 0. So some people don't like icy flavors, but some
Right.
people like them. So this is the best of both worlds, right? You can get just the regular flavor or you can get it with an ice flavor. And then you can boost up the ice blend, and then if you like a little bit more, you can get a little bit more. If you're don't you
That
want
might
to
be
go ahead.
that might be great for somebody like in the mornings, if they want more of a hit, to
Yeah,
help wake them up or something, boost
yeah.
it up. And when you're afternoon, you don't really want it or whatever, you just boost it down.
Yeah, just adjust it to
Yeah.
whatever need or mood you happen to be in. But I do like the idea that it actually, if you are in the mode of trying to wean yourself down, here's something that you can start that process with. I mean, it won't get you. Well, hold on. Let's do another test. Hey, iJoy, Nick 0. Hey, iJoy, Nick 0. Nah, it doesn't go down to 0, Nick. Hey, iJoy, Nick 30. Yeah. So the lowest you can go is 30. So 3%.
That's good
So
though. That's low, you know?
exactly. And it's got a cool little picture on there, a little jet flying in and stuff. So at any rate, so this
Cool.
is the blue raz. And I admit it's got good flavor. It's not bad. Hit me up personally if you want a link. I'm not going to share a link on here. I'm not going to direct anybody. Only links I can share on here are the ones I'm about to talk about, Shelly. All right, let's share. I'm going to present. I don't want to present a slide. I want to talk about this one. And then it spurred a question. All right. Everybody see that? Everybody can see that? I'm gonna little story time. I'm gonna read to everybody here and we'll chat on it. I got a few other articles we can talk about as well. So the title is FDA warns firms illegally selling e-cigarettes resembling products with smart technology, including phones and gaming devices. Maybe the title alone is alarming to you. Like, this is really where we're at right now. We're at the point where we have vaping devices that double as other devices. So this is not too long ago. On October 30th, 2024, FDA announced that the agency issued warning letters to 9 online retailers and 1 manufacturer for selling and or distributing unauthorized disposable e-cigarettes with designs and functionalities that resemble smart technology, including phones and gaming devices. Case in point, that last disposable that I got had games on it. Like
Okay.
dumb game, like really stupid dumb game. There was like a Galaga type game on it. Um, yes, microwave. So I don't think that the device is actually a phone, but I could dial phone numbers and things from the device. Now, that seems very counterintuitive because I couldn't talk on the device. I couldn't like have the conversation, but I could actually go into my contacts and call, but you still got to reach for your phone. So why the double work? You know what I mean? I think they sell some of these things. Yes, you do. Microwaves. Yes, you have to put and if you travel, you have to put an international SIM card in there so you can reach your contacts internationally. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, so I mean, it's a little. I think they sell these things with the gimmicky kind of thing to try to suck you in. You know, I admit maybe I fell for it a little bit just because I wanted to see what it was all about. Like, what's all this extra? You know. The products cited in the warning letters are advertised as having a variety of designs and functions that may appeal to you, such as the ability to play games, connect to a smartphone, receive text or call notifications. I could do that on that device. If I had linked it to Facebook or whatever, I could get my phone notifications. So all that stuff, like I already get enough on my phone. Why do I want to crap on my device? Play music
Right.
or personalized products with custom wallpaper. I had that too. These products may resemble smart devices, but there's nothing smart about them. Okay, Mr. Grumpy Pants, said
Yeah.
Brian King. Oh, of course. Guess who had something negative to say about it? Mr. Brian King, director of FDA Center for Tobacco Products. They're illegal to sell and a flagrant attempt to target kids. Um, I think that's debatable. I don't know. I feel like the lines are blurred between what kids like and what
That's like
adults.
saying, you know, you make a Corvette because kids like it.
Correct.
I mean,
Like,
that's
sure,
crazy,
every
you
kid
know.
wants a Corvette. They can't afford
Exactly.
it, but they
No,
want one.
but they want it. And if
Exactly.
they could get it, their hands on the keys and think they could get away with it, they're going to steal it, right? I mean, you know, I mean, not all kids, but you know what I mean. If they thought they could get away with it, yeah, they're going to drive it around the block or whatever, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of things that are out in this world that certainly at first glance you would think are enticing to kids. But the
Right.
shocker about it is that there are a lot of adult kids and people who like similar things. It could go across the board, whether it's board games at a toy store or video games
If you
or
go to Disney World, how many
anything.
adults are walking around with Mickey Mouse ears?
Anything. Yeah, I mean,
You know.
I think it's conversely flows back and forth. And
Right.
so to sit there and say that it's intentionally meant to target kids, I don't believe that wholeheartedly. I do think that there is an appeal to kids, but I don't think everything was made with the specific intention to target kids. It's a de facto argument to have a stance against vaping, because they'll take everything to do with vaping and somehow correlate it
Twist
to,
it.
oh, the kids want it. The
Right.
kids like the flavors. The kids want the nicotine rush. The kids want, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. We were kids too. You
Right.
mean to tell me you lived this pristine lifestyle where you didn't sneak into dad's cabinet and have a shot of Johnny Walker Red or some Jack Daniels? Are you trying to tell me that you were just this angelic being that just somehow averted all of that stuff? Kids are curious. Kids are going to see things everywhere they go that they want to
Right.
have, that they shouldn't have, or as Mallory points out, it's illegal for them to have this stuff in the first place.
Right.
That's probably one more reason for kids to want it even more.
Right.
Maybe just maybe, if it wasn't age restricted, maybe they get bored with it faster. Do you know what I mean? It's
Right.
the forbidden fruit. What was Neil saying? Neil said he keeps getting ads on Facebook on an ink pen that will hold a THC card so you can get a hit anywhere. Yep. And
Oh,
then,
wow.
but yeah, I think we're entering a different time and era and day now where, I think, that stuff has been through a long fight over time as to whether or not that's something that should be legalized. I'm not going to get into any, semantics about that, but you could look at that and say, why wouldn't a kid want an ink pen that you can get a hit off of? And I'd be willing to bet that's probably what they find on kids more often now than stuff like this. And like Neil points out, that's something that he is even more disguisable in a regular situation, right?
Right.
Like if it looks like the 5 other pens you have in your book bag, or if you're a nerd and you got 8 of them in your pocket protector,
Right.
who's gonna know, right? Wasn't that the argument with vapes in the beginning? Oh, they look like USB drives and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Okay, fine, whatever. But I digress. I go back to the idea that, it's just easy to say that kids want it. Yeah, kids want apple pie too, So what's the difference?
Right.
Further, the designs of the unauthorized products cited in the warning letters are likely to appeal to youth because the designs help conceal the nature of the products as tobacco products from parents, teachers, or other adults. Example images of unauthorized products cited in the warning letters compared to electronic devices on the consumer market. Ready, kids? Let's go straight to the picture dictionary. So, yes, this is sort of similar to what I had. So, okay, but you can tell, like, instantly looking at this, these are exact doppelgangers of each other. I mean, that looks exactly like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that it does this, I guess, is reason for concern. But I think it's, here's the telltale sign right there.
Right. Right.
Okay. And it has a drip tip on freaking top of it. How many phones do you know in this world that have drip tips on top?
I don't know of any.
No. I remember when people had the little app. I remember people had the little app that made it look like you were pouring beer and stuff like that. That was kind of cool. Anyway, moving on. This one is a smartphone, everyone. This is a smartphone. This is a vaping device. Smartphone, vaping device. Joking. All right, here's this one. V-Play. So this one looks like a handheld gaming device. How many people do you know have gaming devices like that nowadays?
None.
I don't.
None. Yeah.
I'd say that's probably like a 2000. Well, when did Game Boy come out? I don't even remember. Any of you people in the chat know when Game Boy first kind of showed up on the? I know they've got those emulators out now. They've got those new gaming emulators. I've seen them on TikTok. They like have 16,000 games on them. They run like EPROMs. Game Boy was mid-90s. So with that said, I think if you see a kid with this, then he robbed dad's closet. You know what I mean? Like dad still got one. So maybe dad's a vapor too. And maybe dad likes something that looks a little bit like it. So I, again, I point out, why is that only attractive to a kid? I don't buy it for a second.
If I was a
Exactly.
big gamer, I'd want one just because it would remind me of being young, if that's what I did as a young person.
But there's a lot of nostalgists too, right?
Right,
I bet you
right,
somebody here on the in the chat on the show probably still has their Sega Genesis 32-bit, probably still has an original
right,
Nintendo 64, still has a GameCube, still
right.
has a Coleco, what was it called from Coleco? Activision, an original Atari 2600.
Yep,
you know uh,
yep,
w- we're nostalgic. We love things from our youth. We're still youthful at heart. um
exactly.
there's a market for all of that kind of stuff. So to sit there and be belligerent to say that that is only would appeal to a kid, I think is just completely ignorant of the fact that hell, people still have like their GI Joe collections. People collect all kinds of toys and things that throughout the years.
Right.
Apparently Beanie Babies are still a thing.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
but if everyone remembers, there used to be a device that looked like a Nintendo controller. I
Mhm.
don't remember. I think it was like a little. That was the battery, right? That was just like the fire and everything was where the buttons, you know, and I think Twisted 420 had one. I think he had one on his show all the time. Yeah, is that what Mallory is? Are we talking about the same thing? The NES control. Well, you might be talking about something that's a little bit more current. But I'm remembering when we had like the mod looked like a Nintendo controller, and it probably had a 510 connection on the top of it, and you put a little 2 mil cartomizer on the top of it with your silica wick, or and then you had your little okay, same one, yeah, the NES controller. I mean, there's been lots of things that have come out over time. Here's another one we could talk about. Pokemon, right? There was a
Right.
vape battery or mod that came out that looked like the Pokemon ball, or was that Dragon Ball Z? I don't know. I'm not that nerdy. I'm not an anime thing. So maybe it was Dragon Ball Z, or I thought it was Pokemon. There was it has to be Pokemon because everybody played that Pokemon Go, where everybody
Hmm.
was on their phone for like 2 or 3 years
Right.
collecting
Walking
Pokemon,
around
like
and
out in the real
driving.
world. And
Yeah.
you know who was doing it? The people that I was around. These are like 40, 35 to 40-year-olds working
Wow.
for a tech company, on their lunch break, going outside to go play Pokemon Go on their break.
Right.
So again, I just think that it's a very ignorant comment to say that just because something is designed with a youthful memorabilia element to it, it was a Dragon Ball RTA. Yep, you're right. You're right, Neil. I remember it well. I don't know, maybe some of those things cross lines. I'm not quite sure. I tried Pokemon Go for about an hour, and I'm like, okay, I don't have the
Can't do
patience
it.
for this. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, let me just go back to playing World of Warcraft, where I just waste my life away in a chair for hours on end. And then, like I said, the character is more accomplished in his life than I am in my own. So, um, it's just ignorant. Again, I digress. The firms receiving these warning letters sold and/or distributed e-cigarettes in the United States that lack authorization from FDA to legally market a new product, which is in violation of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. In addition to the violations mentioned in the warning letters, the retailers and manufacturer were warned to address any violations that are the same as or similar to those stated in the warning letter and promptly take any necessary actions to comply with the law. Failure to promptly correct the violations can result in additional FDA actions such as an injunction, seizure, and or civil money penalty. Is this Brian? Oh no, this is a different dude. FDA is steadfast in our commitment to enforce the law, said John Verbetten, director of CTP's Office of Compliance and Enforcement. We will continue to take appropriate measures working hand in hand with our federal enforcement partners to address unauthorized tobacco products, especially those most appealing to you. So what comes next, kids? 3 ATF agents with like a bunch of Dragon Ball Z and Nintendo controllers on a table taking a picture for the media because they busted some place selling things that they think are too appealing to kids. I think there's a reality to it all, and that is that these things weren't intended for kids. It's illegal for kids to have them. Just because something is made with a youthful memory in mind doesn't mean that it was specifically intended for kids. But once I finish this article, which we're pretty much there, let me finish it off. I'll get to my question. So I'd like to hear from everybody in the chat because I'm asking for a friend, right, Shelley? We're always asking for a friend. Right. The latest round of warning letters marks another step in the FDA's continued efforts to remove unauthorized e-cigarette products from the market, particularly those that appeal to youth. To date, the FDA has issued more than 700 warning letters to firms for manufacturing, selling, and/or distributing unauthorized new tobacco products, issued more than 690 warning letters to retailers for the sale of unauthorized tobacco products, and filed civil money penalty complaints against more than 75 manufacturers and more than 150 retailers for distribution and/or sale of unauthorized tobacco products. Well, I hate to tell you, government, if you're going to create an all-out war on vaping and you're going to make these things difficult to access for adults in the name of the children, what do you think you're going to get as a result of that? You're going to get a budding black market.
Right.
And people are going to take advantage of that black market any way that they can. Now, I know that you can buy a lot of dispos at gas stations and convenience stores, and there's plenty of vape shops around that sell them. And then there are a bunch of smoke shops and stuff. But so I'm not saying they're doing anything that's black market necessarily. They're a legitimate storefront. You can go buy what you want, but you reap what you sow, FDA. You reap what you sow. As of October 30th, 2024, FDA has authorized 34. They always mention this. They always have to talk about the 34 things. Exactly. It's like they pat themselves on the back after all is said and done, right?
Right.
Can't have that.
It's like, I'm doing it right. I'm telling them.
But look what we did.
Yeah.
We gave you that wonderful tobacco flavor.
Yeah.
And a couple menthol. We felt bad for you. So we gave you a couple menthol. Well, that's kind of cool though. Like adults like Legos. Has anybody seen some of the Lego sets that are available today? For gosh sakes, you can build the Millennium Falcon out of Legos. You can create entire villages and towns out of Legos. Shelley, you can probably get a kit that you can build a Corvette out of Legos.
Cool.
And so if there's somebody who's a fanatic about Corvettes, I bet you he'll totally be into that Lego set to make himself a Lego Corvette. The agency maintains a printable one-page flyer of all. Should we go look? Of all authorized e-cigarette products. I thought that was going to be the illegal ones. Like I don't care about your 34. That retailers can consult to determine which products may be lawfully marketed and sold in the United States. Entities manufacturing, importing, selling, and/or distributing e-cigarettes without the required pre-market authorization risk enforcement. I'm going to click on the link anyway. I hope I don't get a virus. It is the FDA after all. Okay, so they just name them. They don't show you pictures of them. They just tell you which ones they are. Oh, there it is. I can't make it any bigger. I'd have to
fit on one page.
Yeah. So there, that's what the FDA can be proud of.
Yeah. That's it.
All right. So this brings me to my question. Let me stop sharing. Stop screen. So what's everybody else's take? Shelley, I'd like to get your insight and your view on devices that might resemble other things. But it comes with a caveat question, right?
Okay.
We don't know what the future of vaping is going to be, period, right now. I mean, there's a lot of things coming up. You've got the big Supreme Court case that our friends will be involved in. There are some hopeful moments at times, um, but we don't know ultimately what the future of vaping is going to be like. So my question is, how do you feel about the current state of vaping devices and these arguments, where they're perceived as potentially kid appealing? And then in conjunction with that, how do you, like, let's just say for the sake of argument that we do see the light at the end of the tunnel, and vaping is becomes more accepted, or it does find a legal pathway to where it can kind of find its way back out on the market. What do you think sh- should be the behavior of the industry, knowing that they have a little bit more solid footing to stand on to get people vaping? Should
You,
they be more reserved in their design and form factor?
oh, I
Should
see
we
what you're saying.
continue? Should we continue to be innovative yet fun?
No, I
Um,
think I think I think we should have, realistically, we're all different. We're all different in everything that we do. We from, flavors to our sports that we like, to our clothing that we like, to how hot we want it in the house. So we all have our own wants and needs, and if it brings somebody together, and I to actually get them to vape, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it is a phone, if it
right,
works like a phone, if it looks like a phone. If it's a 14-year-old kid, then parent better, you know?
right,
Parent better. That's all I can say. If you don't want your kids to vape, then tell them that you don't want them to vape, and make sure that they don't. Yeah,
right,
I know it's not a yes and no thing, but it's something that should be up to the parents. It's not up to the government. It shouldn't be up to the government. It never was up to the government.
right,
All they're supposed to do is say this is safe and this isn't.
right,
Period. And it's not up to them to say well, you might like this and they might like it. So we're only looking out for the kids. And
sure,
I'm hopeful that things will be changing here soon. I
yep.
really am.
I think all of us are hopeful of some turning of the tide. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in a space right now where it's unusual, right? We have to fight on a bunch of different levels. And I get it. A lot of people are tired and exhausted with advocacy and stuff like that. Like I'll even admittedly, even myself, I think I kind of dialed down, some of my, boisterous activity on X. I guess I have to officially call it that now. It's hard not to say Twitter, but everybody knows
Right,
what you
right,
mean.
right.
I kind of I do still kind of follow posts. I read what people have to say. I mean, I think there's enough of us out there on X that we're all kind of hitting the same channels and speaking to similar crowds, and then combating individuals who are a little blathersome. There's we don't have to mention names, but Tahir comes to mind. um
Old
but
TT.
well, he decided to jump in on one of mine, like, instantly, like, basically, like, I Mallory's always John with him. I love it. I love to watch the back and forth between Tahir and Mallory, because Mallory just mic drops on him all damn day long. um
She's good at it. She's
Yep,
good at
she's
it.
she's she's fantastic at it.
Yeah.
Um, but I kind of dialed back my activity on there because I kind of felt like our voices were getting a bit drowned out a little bit. I felt like there was a lot more happening on X that was kind of just creating distraction. Like
Right.
you want to put your message out there, and you want a particular audience to read it. But I feel like everybody's been sidetracked with other subjects and things of that nature. So I pulled back mine. So, but I got a little active the other day. There were some really good posts that were coming up, and I think we should also mention a rather sad post, but a congratulatory post. Dr. Colin Mendelsohn, he finally, after wanting to retire 2 times before,
Right.
he
He
finally
tried.
was he tried, and he came back, and he tried again, and he came back, and
Right.
so this is it, right? So if you aren't aware of the fact that Dr. Colin Mendelsohn is finally hanging up his cleats and gonna take a walkabout out there in the Australian outback, go thank him tirelessly for
Right.
his efforts in bringing the right message out there and writing that wonderful book, and sharing those truths with people, because a lot of that gets kind of washed under the bridge really quickly with a lot of the riffraff and the gotcha headlines and all that stuff. But there are wonderful people out there that are spreading truth and bringing value to the conversation. And he's just certainly one of those warriors that deserves all the credit his way, because he decided to be defiant and speak up.
Right.
Uh, you
And
know,
in
in
his
Yep,
area of, I mean, he really took a lot of heat for it. And I don't know if everybody understands just how much he did take for it every day,
yep,
and he did it because he saw such a miracle in vape and
yes.
getting people better. He did it out of love for everybody and his job and doing the right thing. So,
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that one. I mean, he stood up to the backlash, and
mhm,
that's sometimes what you have to do. I mean, he's not a whistleblower by name, but he's the type, exactly the type of person who's a doctor, right? So he's more connected to the medical community than a lot of people, and I'm sure that that people that decide to go against the grain, so to speak, create a lot of friction for themselves. But when you know the truth, you can't shut up about it, right?
right.
And that goes to our show. I mean, there are a lot of good people out there still talking about it and still fighting for it. But that's why we do this show, because we're not going to shut up when we know that
Mm-mm,
we're telling the truth. But
right.
to James's comment, trouble is these Asian manufacturers don't concern themselves with age of users. They manufacture to make sales and money. Bright colors and designs increase sales as basic marketing. Well, you're exactly right, James. Because guess what? Adults like colors and designs too. So,
Right.
again,
Right.
these people know how to make money, and they're going to make things that people are attracted to. No different than celebrities slapping their names on vape devices and things
Right.
like that. If somebody was like, "Hey, I got this device. I bet I could sell a lot more if I could get Mike Tyson to put his name all over it. I'll give him a little bit of a kickback for doing it, and then I'm going to sell more devices." Yeah, they're going to do that. But is it unfair to say that adults like Mike Tyson as much as kids like Mike Tyson? I mean, he's a hero to many.
Right. All
And
ages.
yep, and then to some people they think he's just a big POS, he has issues, and he's like a powder keg ready to go off. I don't know. People are people. Whatever. Who cares? The guy had a fantastic career. But yeah, you're right, James. It's basic marketing. What did Neil have to say? Neil says, "I believe if you're an adult, you should have freedom of choice. But on the other hand, with everything going on, it gives the anti-vaping people something to use against us." And I think that was sort of what I was alluding to, Neil. Um, we're not going to win everyone over, right? I mean,
Right.
that's just the simple fact. I mean, there are people who will berate a smoker in a heartbeat just because they smoke. There are people that berate people for having a beer. I mean, I've seen all kinds of people chastised and belittled because they're making a choice for themselves as an adult to do something. But I think that's where I was kind of going for, is that, like, if we get a second breath, right? Like, I mean, we're not done Dunzo yet. I mean, Australia is a whole other story, and there are several other countries that have bans and stuff. But I think if things work out where we get that second opportunity, I hope that for two particular things. I hope that for the good, that it allows adults to make those choices for themselves to quit smoking, and then ultimately I pray that ends up being something that we can continue to honestly and more confidently, well, we already do it confidently, but more easily uh, share publicly to help other people to try to quit smoking. Because I think that's one of our missions and goals with vaping. We discovered it, we found community, and we want to pass that knowledge down to other people and make people feel comfortable and safe as well. But to my point, though, is I think that we do stand to have an opportunity to maybe redo things a little bit if we get a full-blown second chance, right? And then we can bring things back without a whole bunch of resistance, or at least the resistance that we're dealing with now. That we don't have to be altar kids with vaping or anything like that. Like, but I do think that, maybe we can show people that we are responsible. What I can't control is the manufacturers. I can't control that, and I can't control what people want to buy.
No, but the government can.
Right. And that's who we want out of the
Right.
picture.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, if leniency gets granted, or the pathway to authorizing these devices becomes easier, hopefully cheaper too, but easier, ultimately, if we're able to get more and more products out, quote unquote, according to Brian, legally onto the market, I do think that, I think there are limitations. I think we can show that we're responsible with the products enough that, not everything has to turn into a whiz bang gizmo thing that Willy Wonka created just so we could get a vape. If that makes sense to everyone, I think we can rewrite the script a little bit, and maybe have a little bit better presentation to those who are questioning what we're doing, unsure of what we're touching or inhaling, and then ultimately those who are naysayers, maybe they'll go, okay, well, at least they've got a little maturity to their industry. And Rifleman, no truer words spoken. The truth is on our side. Truth is truth.
Right.
Truth
You
is
can't
truth,
deny it.
Rifleman.
I mean,
Exactly.
you can try, but it's not going to work.
No, and then to James's point, we're not going to change the marketing strategies of the manufacturer. That's what I say. We can't control the manufacturers. We can't. They're going to make decisions. We could be critical of those decisions. I'm not calling boycott, but we don't have to buy those things that they put out. We don't have to endorse them, because those same manufacturers that have all these fantastic ideas to create something to put it on the market that they think is going to sell $1 million, sell like hotcakes, we can certainly reject that too and say, we're not going to buy into that. I mean, we're not going to spend our money. Wait, how did Friday Night BS show get on the show? Hold on. That's the mysterious Friday Night BS show. Bet you I know who that is. Aren't you supposed to be working? Aren't you supposed to Are you on your break, sir? Are you on your vaping break? Well, right. So John makes a good point. The thing is, right people in the right place to make the right arguments, but we have to be able to keep our voices loud and exact change, demand change, and continue to fight all angles. Because we're not just fighting for our own preservation; we're fighting for the preservation of everybody else to have this. So here's my dream. Here's my perfect world. Right? Is that I sincerely hope that in the coming future that we can find a resolution to the challenges and the problems and the negativity and the reasonable element of vaping, so that the government will create a pathway, or at least put us in a position to be able to bring this back. Yes, he's on his vaping break, as he said. I think that we can bring, so that what we can do is then create an environment to set an example for other people in other countries, other governments and other countries and other areas, so that they could potentially relax their regulations,
Right.
so that adults can have access to the things that I think they rightly should be allowed to have, based on an adult decision to do an adult thing that they
Right.
know works for them to get them away from smoking, because that's the primary goal. So anyway,
Absolutely.
I'll finish on that point. That's my perfect world scenario. We're at 59 minutes and 25 seconds. I have to now be the Uber to get to a Burning Witches show. So Shelly and I are going to say goodnight for the evening. I apologize for the abbreviated show tonight, but we wanted to come back. We wanted to talk to you guys. We didn't want to leave you hanging for 2 weeks straight. We missed you. We wanted to see you. So we will be back next week with one more body, hopefully. Tell those kids to
At
get to
least
work,
one.
John. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Tell those kids to get to work. Hopefully Allison's remodeling will be done. Phillip
Right.
will have all of his other appointments taken care of, and we will see all of your beautiful faces again. Hold on, I got to go to the banner stuff. Hold on, wait, give me 1 second. I'm a noob at this stuff. Hold on, I've done this a couple times.
He's a noob.
No, I got to go to the brand. Tim, go to the brand. You go to the brand, and then you can add the outro video too. Look at that. You can okay. So I set that as the outro video. All right. So Shelly, first of all, thanks to everybody who showed up tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for sharing your ideas, your thoughts, your family to us. We need you here to share the voices. So
love y'all.
Thanks for everybody being here. Shelly, look in the camera and say goodbye. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good night. End stream. Oh, I got to do the end.